SJWs, feminist and Antifa have joined forces. It's like having cancer and AIDS at the same time.
So you're protesting fascism, but you don't really even know what it means.
Well, that maybe that what I would like to say is
They are constantly pushing boundaries, reaching IQ levels that no human being has ever gone before.
Black people racist. No, black people cannot be racist. Black people can be prejudiced, but they cannot be racist.
They can't be racist.
Black people cannot be racist. No, they can be prejudiced.
What's even more amazing is that they can switch from normal to retard in a matter of seconds. That is quite an accomplishment.
then why did you vote for Trump?
Amazing. Meet some of the newest snowflakes of this year.
Here's an unpopular opinion. We shouldn't respect a woman because she's a woman, and we shouldn't respect a man because he's a man. We should respect people who deserve respect. Now, it's absolutely and utterly impossible for me to respect a movement like this.
If you don't play into the trans agenda, you're cast out as a bully and
I'm thinking exactly what you guys were thinking. I never thought the day I will ever come across two giant lactating sea mooses.
He needs some milk.
There I was thinking it was just me that had a problem, but it turns out it's the air conditioning that's sexist.
I know. So many women in our office have the exact same problem. Women, do feel the cold more than men, and that the AC in offices is normally regulated more for a male's temperature than a woman's.
Feminists be like, the AC is sexist. The AC. Chill.
All right, everyone, chill.
My problem has been with the whole of this chaotic scandal which has engulfed Westminster. But most of this has been a lot of nonsense. I do not consider a mildly flirtatious remark sexual harassment. Sense of proportionality has just deserted the whole thing. People putting in complaints 15 years later that they may have been lightly touched. It is ridiculous. I mean, normally that would just make me laugh. We're already, as a society, at a stage where people are dubious about putting their arm round a distressed child because they feel it might be misinterpreted. Are we really going to get to the stage where no man can make a flirtatious comment, can make a light touch, can give a pat of encouragement, can give a touch of comfort, whatever it might be, where human beings feel they have to stand off from each other? If so, that's not some new age of enlightenment, that's a dark age.
That's a dark age.
This elderly lady is every straight male's hero, especially my friend and Andrew Tate with their situation they're going through. My friend opened a door for a feminist. He has a court date in 2 weeks.
I want to say I'm sorry for the things I've done, and I try and be stronger.
Let me ask you this. What physical, personal compliment could I pay you that wouldn't offend you?
Do you know what? You and me both know the difference between flirting and harassment. And that's the thing. Most men...
But answer my question for a moment.
Because what...
In other words, if I were to say to you now,
yeah,
your hair looks lovely, yeah, or I like what you're wearing, yeah, would you consider that in this new environment to be offensive?
I wouldn't. But it doesn't matter about that, because it's not about me as an individual.
It doesn't matter. I think it does matter.
No, let me talk. Let me explain.
A lot of people are confused now.
Yeah. So let me explain.
Well, let me just say this. Let me phrase the question correctly. They're not confused about rape or sexual assault or even aggressive...
Oh, they are.
Well, OK, let's just assume...
And that's part of the problem.
Let's assume most people, in my experience, know what rape is and they know what sexual assault is. And
but
they know
don't, and that's a huge assumption that you're making, and that is part of this same problem. Like, the only point where people take rape seriously is when we have conversations like this, and suddenly it's taken really seriously. The conviction rate for rape is 6%, because when we do talk about rape, we still talk about it as something that women have to prevent from happening to themselves. And this is the thing about sexual harassment, that it's not just a touch or a flirt or a text message, it's all of it. We make it acceptable to do the stuff at the other end of the scale, and all of these things affect women's confidence, and they all affect women's freedom.
Now here's an uncomfortable truth. The biggest difference between harassment and flirting depends on the person doing it. Now, if you are a guy who is ass cheeks ugly, it will be considered harassment. But if you are a handsome man, it's considered flirting, and you are a confident man and he knows what he wants.
Perfect. Perfect.
But tell me why. This woman looks like Harvey Dent from Dark Knight. She has slept with so many dudes that she is starting to look like one.
He needs some milk.
Get it. But I would also say, from my personal experience talking to women in the last 2 weeks, a lot of women don't share the view that a hand on a knee, albeit completely inappropriate perhaps, after a couple of drinks at lunchtime, or a clumsy pass by a married politician, they don't see that as anywhere near the same level of offence as sexual assault, rape and so on. And so I'm mainly asking, really, you know, I think a lot of people think this is a good debate to be having. Yeah. But where is the line to be drawn?
But that's the thing. It's not about, like, why do we have to draw lines? We know that...
Because otherwise people don't know where the line is.
But it's not true. Like, men don't harass people who can fire them. And that's because very few women are in positions of authority over men. This is actually about power. And if some women don't want to report, that's fine. Nobody's insisting that they should. Nobody's telling Anne she has to.
Well, let me ask Anne Widdecombe. Anne, in all your time in Parliament, were you ever sexually harassed?
Absolutely not. And I think for the very obvious reason that, you know, nobody would have expected to make very much progress if they'd tried. But honestly, this is not what Westminster is like. I do not recognise the description of a toxic atmosphere at Westminster as the one that for 23 years I observed close up. And I'm really tired of being told, you know, that women are being suppressed when it takes them years to report something, when they could report it on the spot time.
Some of these women did report it and it was dismissed,
Sophie, you had a long innings just now. Now, just hang on. What we're actually getting at the moment is reports coming in via third parties where the women don't even want to complain.
Do you wonder why, Anne, when your reaction is like this?
They should have done. It is pathetic. It is pathetic.
No, it's very courageous when people like you will give them that treatment. Actually standing up to your harassers and standing up to people like you who belittle people's experiences, actually it's the bravest thing.
Of course, this doesn't just apply to women. You know, we're talking as if women are the only victims. Men also may have grievances which they want to make known.
According to ONS.
But, oh, Sophie, do let somebody finish, for goodness sake.
I'm just giving you the facts.
Which they want to make known. But what I believe is that there should be proportionality. That is the word that I've been using ever since this nonsense started. There is proportionality. What is serious should always be taken seriously. What is trivial isn't worth wasting the time on. And most of this stuff, where even the women themselves don't want to complain, is trivial.
Now here is the riddle of the day. What is the biggest difference between a feminist and a knife? Is that the knife actually has a point.
Got him!
Do you think that women who voted for Hillary, women who have strongly supported the feminist movement and supported the left, are feeling disenfranchised given the current climate of sexual brutality and oppression brought to light in Hollywood recently?
So I think that people have a willingness to blind themselves to facts that they don't want to see. And so what I've seen a lot is people saying, well, the problem of sexual harassment isn't unique to Hollywood and has nothing to do with our culture regarding sex, a leftist culture regarding sex. No, it has to do generally with men, right? It has to do generally with American society. It has to do generally with power relationships. It's funny how everybody is willing to generalize as soon as their ox is gored. right? As soon as the left sees, wait, our culture, our feminist culture that we said that we were going to promulgate and was going to protect women hasn't protected women, nearly at all, then all of a sudden it turns into, well, it's not us that sin, it's men that sin. Right? And so I've been getting a lot of this online in the last couple of days. It's you men who haven't stood up. And I keep saying, like, what do you want me to do? And I'll do it. Really, what do you want me to do? Like, if you show me a rapist like Harvey Weinstein allegedly is, then I will say send him to jail or castrate him, right? Like, this is not difficult. But if you just say to me, you don't acknowledge the rape culture, again, I need you to define that, and I need you to explain to me what I did. Like, really? I didn't do anything. And I think the vast majority of people in this room didn't do anything. And if they did do something, then maybe people should report it to the police, because that seems to me the best way to root out evil is to actually have law enforcement get involved. So the left is, so the question of what the left is doing about this, do they feel disenfranchised? No, I think they're just going to blame the same people they always blame, because we're all in our own little bubbles. Should they feel disenfranchised? 100%. Because in a society that treats sex as transactional, in a society that basically reduces sex to any sort, just a physical transaction that is based solely on consent, it makes it very difficult to explain why it is that the casting couch in Hollywood is bad per se. Right? There's actually, like, feminist theory says that it's bad because of power imbalances, but the sort of libertarian culture of the left suggests that power imbalance doesn't have anything to do with it. If I feel like trading my body for a part in a movie, well, that's my business. And if you say differently, then you're slut-shaming me. Right, so that's, well, you can't really have it both ways. Either it's bad or it's not bad. And if we are going to fight sexual harassment and sexual assault, it seems to me that we have to do a couple of things. One, we have to reinvest sex with value beyond just a physical transaction. It's not just two people who are getting each other's rocks off. It actually means something beyond that. There's a relationship that's attached to it. And beyond that, I think that we need to re-inculcate in men themselves, not just the teach men not to rape routine. Like, again, it's such a weird concept. Like, when I was 11, my dad didn't sit me down and say, son, don't rape people. Like, if you have to teach your child that, my guess is that you got a bigger problem than that on your hands. What my dad taught me was to be a gentleman and to treat women with respect. And that has to do with being a gentleman and recognizing differences in sex roles. Because one of the things that's happened is that traditional masculinity, the idea that it is a man's job to protect women, this is one of our jobs as human beings, as men, to protect women, the feminist movement doesn't like that. Well, then you can't blame us for not protecting women if you don't want us to protect women. Like, I want to protect women. I think men should protect women. I think one of the reasons God put man on earth is to protect women. Okay, well, then it is incumbent on me to protect women. But if you're telling me that I can't even open a door for a woman because this is somehow an offense to her honor, and that if I say that it's man's job to protect women, that this is somehow reinforcing gender stereotypes, then don't come whining to me when bad stuff happens. Because the answer to bad behavior is good behavior. The answer to vice is virtue. The answer to vice isn't just yelling and hashtagging crap.
I've spent many years researching about women's rights. I even went out of my own way to go to the library to check and read out books about feminism, because I am Asian, overachiever. And what I learned and what I uncovered, that these books were nothing but filled with a giant piece of giraffe shit. I was furious. As a matter of fact, I was so furious. I walked across the library, threw that feminism book on the fictional bookshelf. And that was the last day I was ever allowed to be in that library. I got my library card privileges revoked, exiled, banned, whatever you want to call it, because Susan and all the ladies at the front office wasn't too pleased. But I looked Susan dead in the eye, and I said this:
I don't give a fuck.
We don't give a fuck!
Report shows that by 2030, 45% of working women ages 25 to 45 by 2030 will be non-married, no kids, single. Okay, so you might say, well, what's wrong with that? Okay, if you think that you're going to be 45 years old, no kids, not married, and that you're going to genuinely be fulfilled in life because you made money, best of luck to you, honey.
Right. I have a question for all the ladies and to all the feminists who are watching this, because I'm truly curious. What good has feminism done to our society? Because I've looked at feminism at all possible angles, statistically, analytically, and logically. And from my conclusion, now this is my conclusion, is that feminism has done more harm to our society than good. Because from my standpoint, feminism is not about equality. It's not about women's rights, but it is about having leverage and power over men and emasculating men. I support women's rights, but I just can't support that. Because a wise man said this joke: how many feminists can change a light bulb? None, because y'all can't change a thing. Because feminists be like, we want equality. Then we'll turn right back around and say, you do it because you're a guy. Now, before I end this video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Now, here's a bonus clip from Alpha Male Strategies.
I'm going to keep making controversial topics. I don't care if they come flag every one of these. I don't give a they come thumb down every one of these. I don't give a. All right, I'm not afraid of women. Guys, a lot of you guys are scared to date women or toss to the Me Too and sexual rap. Man, I'm going to stay dicking these hoes down. And nope, I'm not afraid to be left in a room with a woman. I fuck their ass to sleep and send their ass home, and I don't worry about no charge. If they want to file a fake go ahead. I got a lawyer. That's what he get paid retainer for. I'm not afraid of women. I'm just going to live my life